Hello, I'm Kate Swinson, personal trainer and wellness coach, and today I'm going to take you through how you can make your own chocolate recipe at home using just 3 basic ingredients, and then how you can switch that up to make 3 tasty chocolatey treats to enjoy. So over the years, chocolate has become very mass produced, resulting often in quite a low quality chocolate bar. The reason for this being is perhaps the cacao that's been used isn't of the highest quality, or during the production methods they've used heat to create the chocolate bar, which has resulted in us losing a lot of the nutrients that was originally in the cacao powder that was being used. Plus they obviously add in a lot of extra ingredients nowadays, including perhaps refined sugar and also milk, which might not be best for a lot of people to be eating. So using a raw, good quality cacao powder that's been cold pressed, ideally organic, we know that the quality of the chocolate we're going to get at the end of it is going to be very, very high. So when we do this, we actually are eating a really nutrient dense food that can really help support our wellness, as well as give us some enjoyment through what we're eating. So cacao in its very raw state is very high in antioxidants. It actually has 40 times the amount of antioxidants to that of blueberries. And per gram it has more iron than beef and lamb, so it's a great plant-based source of iron for those that don't eat meat. It also helps to boost serotonin levels in the brain, which helps us to feel good, but also gives us a natural energy boost without any caffeine from the coffee pot. So we'll get started this morning. I'm going to show you how to make the basic recipe and then how you can switch this up into 3 lovely different recipes to make different chocolate treats. Okay, so the first ingredient we're going to use is cacao butter. So if you've spied these behind me, they're not white chocolate buttons, which most people think they are the first time they see them. They're actually cold pressed organic cacao butter. So we're going to use this as the main ingredient within our chocolate. I've got all the links and information in the recipes for the ingredients that I've used below the video, so check that out to find out where you can buy these from. So we're going to use 90 grams of cacao butter, and it's going to be melted over a very, very low heat by placing around 2 to 3 centimetres of boiling water into a saucepan like so, and then placing the cacao butter into a glass bowl and placing that over the heat. Now you want a very, very low heat. We don't want to boil or overheat the cacao butter, because we obviously want to retain as many nutrients as we can during this process. Okay, so just a very, very low heat, and then just stirring it regularly will just disperse all of the cacao butter wafers. So eventually you end up with literally just a nice liquid like so. It does smell really lovely, but until you add anything to it, it doesn't taste very nice. It's just really the fat from the cacao. Okay, so when we've done that, we're going to add in our cacao powder. So as I say, the cacao powder that I use is cold pressed and it's organic, so I know it's really, really good quality. The quantity we're going to use is 25 grams. You could adjust this if you're used to eating a very milky, sweet chocolate bar at the moment. You may find that that's still a little bit bitter for you, so you can always play around with that. It won't affect the end result of the quality of the chocolate. It will just have a slightly different taste. So you could reduce that down to perhaps start with 10 to 15 grams of cacao powder to 90 grams of cocoa butter, and then just build that up until you find what's right for you. It will still set exactly the same. So we add that into our melted cacao butter. And then we just give that a really, really good stir. So what we're looking for is to disperse any lumps. You'll notice that I didn't sieve the cacao powder in advance. I find that the warmth of the cacao butter just tends to disperse any of the lumps, so you don't need to worry about doing that. And then once that's all mixed in nicely, we're going to add in our sweetener. Now you can choose your sweetener. If you use a liquid sweetener, I would normally recommend using maple syrup, just because it contains more nutrients than a lot of the other liquid sweeteners out there. You could use honey, that's very, very sweet. So if you have a very sweet tooth, then obviously that might be a good place for you to start. Or the other option is agave nectar, so you can use that as well. So again, if you work to taste, but my recipe works on 2 tablespoons. It sounds a lot, but this chocolate, you're not going to want to eat huge amounts of it, because it's not going to spike your blood sugar levels in the same way. You'll probably find that you don't want to eat quite as much, so you'll feel fulfilled and satisfied from eating it without wanting to go on and on and on, like perhaps you might do with other chocolate bars or chocolate treats that you might buy in the shops. So if we add 2 tablespoons, I'm going to use maple syrup, it's my favourite. Pop that in there, like so. And then literally just mix that up. So that's a really lovely chocolate recipe now, and just using literally those 3 ingredients. What you can do now is, if you have any, you can flavour your chocolate further if you would like to, using food grade oils. So I have here some food grade wild orange and also ginger, which we're going to be using today. You could also perhaps use a peppermint oil if you like peppermint mint chocolates. So we're going to use these because we're going to then combine them with fruits. So the wild orange works really beautifully, obviously with added dried fruits and nuts into the other recipes that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to add just a couple of drops of wild orange oil and just give that another stir. So we've now got a really lovely wild orange chocolate mix. So you could just pour this into a mould. So this is one that I've ordered online. It's just a shell mould. You can get lots of different shapes of moulds. There's heart shapes, there's special festive ones, so for Christmas or for Easter. They're very, very cheap. You can get lots of them. They're easy to clean. Just pop them in the dishwasher. So you could literally just pop some of that now into a mould. I'm just going to fill a couple just to show you, because I'm going to do different recipes today. So once you've added your chocolate into the mould, if you then wanted to, you could sprinkle some buckwheat groats to give it a nice crisp. So when it's set, you feel that you've got a nice crispy crunch into your chocolate, which is lovely. Or the other option that you can do is you could literally, if you are able to eat nuts, and you like eating nuts, you could just grab an almond or a Brazil nut and literally just drop that into the centre, just 1 nut per chocolate into the mould. And then when that sets and hardens, obviously it'll be like a lovely nutty chocolate for you to enjoy. And then you just pop that in the fridge, and then it will just set as normal. Probably for around 20 to 30 minutes, I would recommend, to be honest with you, to set the chocolate. So then what we're going to do is, another option is to actually create our own Florentines. So these are full of delicious dried fruits and seeds if you want, and nuts too if you're able to eat nuts and you enjoy nuts in chocolate. So I'm going to show you how you can do that now. So literally, I've just got some no added sugar. Please make sure that they're no added sugar. because we're trying to keep the sugar content quite low here for health reasons. So we've got some dried cranberries. They're just sweetened with a tiny little bit of pineapple juice. And then I've just got some plain sultanas, or you could use raisins or dates if you like dates. And then I'm just going to tip these into the chocolate. I like a really fruity chocolate, so I've got quite a lot there. You can see that I'm literally just mixing that in, super simple. And then you can add in some nuts. You can add them in whole if you like quite a big chunky chocolate, or if you prefer the nuts to be chopped down, that's absolutely fine. So cashews and almonds and Brazil nuts generally work well, or hazelnuts are really lovely. Those are delicious too, and they work really, really well if you've added in orange flavour too. I'm going to add a little bit of ginger here as well. So the other thing as well you can do, I'm using a ginger food grade oil because it's really quick and simple and easy to use. But if you've got any dried ginger pieces, that would be really delicious too. So you could add those in. And then adding in some seeds. So I've got some sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. We like quite a lot of seeds in our Florentines in this house. Adding quite a few. And then again, just mix that up. So if you are adding in nuts, then you would add those in now, either whole or chopped up. That's absolutely fine. Again, it's to your personal preference and your taste. And then just grabbing some cupcake cases. So you can use the cupcake cases that are just disposable, so just the paper ones that you can pick up really cheaply, just normal size, they don't need to be a special size. Or you can use the silicone moulds like I do, so that they're reusable, so I don't have to keep buying them because I make quite a lot. So I'm going to add some of the mixture now into this. Now you don't need to fill these high. If you imagine that we're going to serve them by taking them out of the cases just give them that lovely round Florentine shape and size. So we're going to fill them probably only around 1/3 full. Okay, so literally just taking some of the mixture, adding it into the cupcake case. Don't have to be too precise here, they'll set anyway. Just filling them in. Like so. So you can see how there's still quite a lot of space around my cupcase. So you don't want to completely fill it to the top. Well, you could do, but that would be quite a lot in one serving. So, and you'll find that you probably don't need that much, and it will take a lot longer to set. So the idea is that we can have chocolate ready to go in around 30 minutes. So whenever we fancy chocolate, we've got it ready to roll. Then the next thing that we can do is add in something crispy. So then we can make more of a granola style chocolate treat. So I've used here an organic cornflakes. I'll show you the box so you know what I've used. So these are organic because a lot of the corn can sometimes be GMO. So with this we've got a good source of fibre. They are gluten-free as well, and they're lower in sugar, which is what we're always looking for. You can get Lima completely sugar-free cornflakes, but at the moment that's quite tricky to get hold of online, so just the whole earth ones are great. The other option, which has absolutely no added sugar, and they're really delicious, and even the kids really like these, is the spelt flakes. So they're really, really nice as well. So you can choose obviously which you prefer. Spelt is a great ancient grain, so that's a really nice diverse grain to get into your diet if you're able to eat it. So literally all we do now is just add in the cornflakes, or whichever flakes you've chosen to use, and then just mix it around into the chocolate. You want to really coat it really, really well, obviously. Mix it together like so. Takes a little bit of mixing in just to make sure that we're using up all the chocolate in the bottom of the bowl and that all the flakes are covered in the chocolate goodness. And then all we do is literally get a baking tray or a dish like so and pop the baking parchment paper in it, and that will just make it easier obviously to lift off once it's set. And we just pour that in to the tray and then just even it out roughly. Again, it doesn't all have to be joined because we're going to break it up when it comes out of the fridge anyway once it's set. And we just pop it in like so, and then you'd put that in the fridge again for around half an hour until it sets. And then when it has set, you just literally break it up very roughly and pop it into a glass kilner jar, ideally, something like this, and then just store it in the fridge, and it will keep for a good 5 days, if not a little bit longer, to be honest with you, if it lasts that long. It doesn't in this house, but all the chocolate would last generally around 5 to 7 days, but all needs to be stored in the fridge. Otherwise you might find, obviously at room temperature, if it's left out for too long, it might start to melt, so you can't just leave it on the side like you would a commercially purchased bar of chocolate. But I hope that's given you some ideas as to how you can really simply and quickly make your own chocolate treats that are really going to nourish your body and really energize you and help you to feel well, but also feel like you're enjoying your food and getting a nice chocolate treat. So please do let me know how you get on with the recipes, and you can always message me if you've got any queries.